Welcome back. We're on our journey again to awaken and get spiritually, mentally, and emotionally fit. So you're probably wondering what this is, and I'm glad that you are, because today we're taking a practical look at the spirit, mind, and emotions. So why are we doing this? Well, sometimes it's necessary to have a visual in order to better understand a specific subject matter, especially when it's as abstract as this. So because the body is the housing for these three parts, and it's the one that we're obviously the most familiar with, then we're going to start right there. The body's that part of us through which we have a connection with the world. From the day that we're born, we interpret everything through our sensory perception: hearing, taste, smell, vision, and touch. This is how we experience physical life on this earth. Our bodies give us world consciousness, and through it is how we experience all things in this human existence. But we also have a spirit, and this spirit connects us with God because God is a spirit, and this spirit gives us God consciousness. We can't understand things of the spirit with our bodies. For example, things like prayer and fasting are spiritual acts and all stem from the spirit. And our spirit is given to us by God at birth. It's actually breathed into us. It's the breath of life. And upon physical death, our spirit returns to God because it survives death. How cool is that? And then we have the soul. And our soul is something like a hard drive. Herein lie all of our emotions. If we dug deep into our souls, we would find things like memories, pain, traumas, wounds, as well as creative abilities, artistic skills, desires, aspirations, joy, everything in the kitchen sink. Everything that makes up who we each individually are is in our soul, and our soul gives us self-consciousness. This is the means by which we explore our own selves and how we feel, and because the soul is like a receptacle that carries all things, we may find in there both bad experiences from the past as well as laughter and joy, all together in this soul. And finally, there's this third part up here, the mind. And the mind is a direct extension of the soul. In fact, what's in the soul directly influences, impacts, and feeds the mind, and vice versa, because it's a revolving relationship. Now, when we begin to understand the connection of all these parts, we realize that one doesn't function independent of the others, but rather they function in unison, in sequence, in sync. And it's impossible to get one of these areas in order without aligning them all. So this journey is called Awaken, which would to some degree imply that we're asleep or dormant, right? Or at least that some part of us is. And anytime that we're not operating at our fullest potential or optimizing our gifts, then it's fair to say that some type of idleness is going on. When our dreams or our visions seem lifeless, then our primary function or purpose has been suspended or slowed down for a period of time, as if we were in a deep sleep. Now I'd like to take a look at a more functional perspective of the same thing. The spirit's primary purpose is to give life and direction to the soul. If our spirit isn't right, then the rest of our person will suffer or not function properly. Many things can affect our spirit's performance, like a poor connection with our Creator, false truths, or an obstructed understanding of who God is. Our spiritual life also requires a periodic check-in to make sure that there's still open lines of communication and that when He speaks, we can still hear Him. Now, when our soul receives life and direction from the Spirit, a spark ignites, and it's as if an internal combustion happens. This light that comes directly from God simultaneously begins to dull out the hurts and the pains that live in the soul, as well as enhance the purpose, the vision, and joy, and bring to life all the dead things. With this newfound perspective comes direction, which in turn leads us to purpose. Now lastly, we have the mind, because being an extension of the soul, it receives this direction and produces action. And why is this all important? Because it's all a chain reaction. And if your spirit woman isn't strong, then there's nothing to help balance your emotions. And all those parts of us we'd like to make pretend don't exist begin to surface and speak louder than everything else, ultimately reflecting itself on and suppressing our mind, keeping us captive to a false reality. Don't let that be you. It's time to awaken.